Yo, okay, this one made me laugh. All right, a news story. College golf team watches in horror as Delta employees wildly launch clubs before NCAA championships. I'm going to play this video for you, everybody. We're going to watch the video. It's you're going to watch these guys. Here we go. There you go. They filmed this. Delta employees with your bags, and they're throwing them. Look at him. He just throws them, just tosses them right like that, right before the championships. Yo, did y'all not know this? Is this like a thing that people don't know? I thought everybody knew this. How is this news? I'm so excited for this story. I got to tell you what. Look, he's just chucking all the bags. I don't see anything. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. What is this? We got Colin Rugg says, new Delta Airlines caught chucking a college golf team's clubs at the San Diego airport before the NCAA championships. The airline industry is becoming one of the most hated industries in America. The East Tennessee State University men's golf team filmed Delta employees launching their gear on the tarmac. Nice of Delta to handle our club with such care, the team said on X. The team was traveling to the NCAA championships in Carlsbad, California when the incident happened. I am grateful. I am grateful that I worked for an airline before everybody had cameras on their phones. Yo, is this for real? Every golfer's worst nightmare. And this time, there was actually a lot at stake. The X account for the East Tennessee State University's men's golf team recorded a video of Delta employees launching their clubs in the tarmac. There's the video. Of course, we played it. This video's got millions of views. Wow. Hopefully, the clubs remained intact as the team is headed to the NCAA championships in Carlsbad, California, after winning the Southern Conference and advancing through the NCAA regionals. Commenting fans reacted in horror. Unacceptable. Why the silence? And you know this is not isolated. You know what the funny thing is? They're going to fire this guy. They all do it. Bro, are you kidding me? I used to work for, I worked for an airline. Everybody knows, I guess, if you watch any of my videos where I worked, I've never not seen someone throw a bag. I've never not. You think that when you've got 20 minutes to get 100 bags from the bag room on a cart to a plane, that they're going to be moseying on over? Dude, are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen, the moment your bag disappears, you don't own it. It's gone. Not only do these people throw your bags, they laugh about it. They kick your bags. Dude, come on. And everybody at the companies, they know this is going on. What are you going to do about it? You're paying a guy $12 an hour to lift. I think it's estimated around like 30 to 50,000 pounds per day. I'm not even kidding. So let's do some math, especially for these planes. All right, here's how it worked when I worked there. These big bags, these golf bags, because of their size, they do an estimate of 60 pounds. The smaller bags, see these big bags over here on the cart? Your larger bags are estimated for the load manifests. The flight manifests at 60 pounds, and your smaller bags are at 30 pounds. They do that on average because it's true. Now, that means like one of these bigger bags could weigh 80, smaller bag could weigh 10. But when you average out the size, they say it actually works out pretty dang close to an average of 30 and 60. So you've got in this cart these big duffel bags. So, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just right there. You've got an estimated 600 pounds. He's got to lift and he's got to move. Not to mention, you've got over here 1, 2. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, another 360. We're talking about just right here about 1,000 pounds of luggage that has to be moved. All right. So these are just a couple carts. When we would load every day, is it 30 to 50? I think that's a fair estimate. 30 to 50,000. I think maybe it's like 30,000. So if you do 30 of these carts, which is not atypical, you can easily estimate, maybe 30 to 50 is a little unfair, but depending on the plane, you could have a handful of guys that have like 5 or 6 of these carts. So they got a thing called the bag room. Basically how this works is when you hand your bag to the gate agent and you're like, I'm going to check this bag, it goes in a conveyor belt and then falls and tumbles down, bump, 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 bounces, flopping around like crazy. Boom, 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 boom. Lands on a big conveyor belt that goes, it's a massive conveyor belt that goes around like the whole room. It's wild. I shouldn't even say whole room because it's like the whole span of one of the terminals. It's crazy. And then the bag room, guys, everybody hates the bag room. And I don't know, the reason they hate the bag room is because you work nonstop the whole day. Whereas when you're working, loading the planes, you only work when the plane is ready. So you're doing about 10 loads of the plane, and it's probably like 2,000 to 3,000 pounds per load, off and in. So that's where I get maybe 20 to 30 was a better estimate. In the bag room, you sit in a chair, and the bags come around, and you look at the tag. And the most annoying thing in the world, oh man, working the bag room. When the bag is positioned to where you can't see the bag tag, so you have to get up and move it, and it's not even your bag. And you're like, ugh. And you go back and sit down. 8 hours of sitting in a chair, watching bags go around. Here's how it works. In the bag room, you will have maybe 3 or 4 carts with destinations on them. So each section of it's a massive room. It's like, it's really outside, but it's mostly covered. So you're kind of inside. And like there's 2 big doors on the ends and they're just open. There's no like doors or anything. So you're sitting there. You have, I think you might have 4 or 5. It's been 20 years. And you'll have like, depending on the region, where were we? We had LGA, we had LaGuardia. So the cart will say above it like LGA. It'll say what's another one? We had it's CVG, right? This is from the airport. This is the airport codes. LGA is LaGuardia. CVG, I think, is Cincinnati. Spindle. I used to know all of them. It's crazy. All the domestic ones. And so a bag comes around and you see LGA on it. And you're like, okay, I load for the LaGuardia planes. You pick the bag up, you walk it over to the cart, you put it in the cart. Eventually, someone will come and take that cart away. And then someone eventually comes back and then drops a cart off for you guys in the bag room. Let me tell you guys, do you think that these low-paid workers in the bag room are, with smiles on their faces, casually picking up your bag and giving a wink and then carefully placing it in those carts? No way! Dude, I watched guys, they walk up and they're like lazy, and they put one hand in the bag and they spin their bodies to generate centripetal force so they don't have to actually lift the bag and then chuck it. There was one moment where there was a bag marked fragile, and some guy did that, and you heard a crunch, and wine started leaking out of the bag. You think they care? Dude, they had guys that were stealing stuff, and it happens all the time. I never witnessed anybody really stealing anything, but I've witnessed people find things. And okay, to be fair, like I think it's safe to say that back in the day, people did find things. They just wouldn't really make an effort to do anything about it, right? And then someone would eventually just take it. There was one where there was like a bag of money, but it was like $40, and it was just lying on the ground. And everyone's like, where did that come from? And so we're just like, let's just tell the boss. And the boss is like, don't know, don't care. Like we go to supervisor, we're like, it was like a pink bag of money or something, like looked like $40 inside, like some change and like a 20. And then they were like, we can't do anything about it because you can't identify what that is and where it came from and what bag it goes into. I got a really funny story. One dude, when they were working the bag room, a DVD fell out of a bag. And this is a big story that happened in Chicago. A DVD fell out, and it was adult entertainment for guys who like guys, if you get my drift. And the guys in the room were like, I ain't touching that. Like, what do we do? And one of the like higher ups, who was a funny guy everybody liked, he's like, I'll take care of it. He picks it up. He walks onto the plane. He tells the flight attendant and the flight crew, he's like, hey, something fell out of someone's bag. And then he walks up and he's like, hey, a DVD that was in somebody's bag. Did somebody have a DVD in their bag? And these are small flights of like 30 people, 30 to 50. And then he was like, I think it was a pink bag with like this mark. And then a guy gets up and they say it was like obviously a gay dude. And then the guy holds up the DVD and the guy's like, oh, that's not mine. And then he sits down. Yeah, man, look, I don't know. This is, I'm sorry. I had to do this segment because everyone's losing their minds over this. And it happens all the time. And I'm like, people, I guarantee you, when you fly and you check your bag, just imagine they're all bashing it with crowbars and baseball bats. That's what you check an animal, heaven help you. Please don't do that. Never. These airlines are getting mad that people are claiming their dogs are like service animals. And I'm like, it's because everybody knows what you do to these animals. There are stories about dogs that have died. So the way it works is when you load an animal, we had a flight manifest and you have to put in it animal. Because then the pilot has to pressurize the cabin for the living creature. And what happens if you don't? Well, the funny thing is they would tell everybody the animal explodes, which is not true. The animal does not explode. They suffocate. They asphyxiate it's freezing. It gets very cold and then they struggle to breathe. And so there's two stories I've heard. One is they forgot to write down the animals there, and then when they came back, it was just blood and guts everywhere. And I'm like, that's not true. Others have told stories where the plane lands and there's a dead dog in the cabin because the pilot didn't pressurize, and so it was minus 40 degrees, and the dog asphyxiated in the thin atmosphere. That's why the oxygen masks come down in these emergencies, so they say. I don't know if that's true either. But that was the more plausible, like, yeah, if they're not pressurizing the cabin, the air gets really thin, the animal could die. And yeah, don't check your animals, dude. I've seen them feed animals. They let animals out of the crates to run around in the work area. And there was one story out of O'Hare that they let a dog run around in the workroom. It's a big room. And the doors don't latch shut. They're just heavy weighted doors. And so the dog's running around and everyone's giggling and laughing because the flight's not for an hour, right? And the dog's freaking out. A guy opens the door to walk in, and the dog bolts for the door and just runs for it. And then they just watched as the dog ran straight down the tarmac at O'Hare. And they're like, okay, well, that dog's dead. Gets lost in the woods, running around in the tarmac. They're not going to find it. No one's going to look for it. No other airline's going to take responsibility for a dog. Their attitude is a dog is an expense of a couple $100. They don't care. And that family that checked that dog will never see that dog again. Yeah, dude, I don't recommend it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. We don't need to go forever on this one. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.